some gold from that, and it honestly costs as much as a peon. Yes, it does. Plus 25 wood. Oh no. It's not like wood's going to be a huge problem. I mean, a whole bunch of people, I mean, even pros do this. I do this occasionally, is you just bring out a whole bunch of peons and fight with those and never replace them. So that's one thing to keep in mind, is that there really is no harm. I personally thought this was a stupid move by Todd. I mean, look at all those raiders and grunts. He's obviously outnumbered. There's really nothing he can do. Oh no, one sorceress. And you really never want to fight an orc at a healing fountain, because, I mean, sure, fight them at a mana fountain, who cares? But at a healing fountain, orc army compositions are really based on HP, and they really aren't based on damage output as much, only from the heroes. So really, all that they do is just endure battles, and you can't out-endure an orc, no matter how much slow you have, unless, your army is vastly superior to theirs. So, yeah, keep that in mind. Try not to pressure the orc. That's really not going to do much. As you can see, Grubby lost a raider to creeps. Brutal, I know. But that was pretty much all that happened with Todd, and he ended up wasting a TP, losing a footy, and losing a whole bunch of time because he has to sit and heal his Archmage, and played a little more defensively. So also, Grubby has decided to start going tier 3. He is also setting up a shop at his base. One thing that you always want to have is a shop at your base, just in case they decide to tower push you, which is what humans always do anyways. So, yeah, there's that. As a human player, always get the Magic Sentry upgrade. This might sound stupid to you, but it's always, always handy, even if they don't go Blade Master. I mean, even if they go, like, Farseer or Torn Chieftain, it's not like you're going to have the invisible wolves running around. Really, it's great for seeing stuff at night. Another thing it's great for is actually scouting, because you get the reveal ability, and then you can actually figure out if they're trying to sneak expos. And basically, you don't waste all that time trying to find odd, creeping areas. Yeah, so really, you can just scout with your militia the, close, obvious areas, and then use your Arcane Tower to scout the vastly faraway locations. So, as you can see, Todd got creepjacked. Oh no, he has an expo. It's not like he's going to rebuy a TP or anything, because it's not like he has the money. Yeah, he will do that, just so as you know. He also hoarded up on the healing scrolls. That's one good thing to do, especially when the Torn Chieftain hits level 3. Yeah. But there was one thing I was going to get at. I forget what it was, though. It was really important. I was going over Magic Sentry, and then, I don't know, whatever, I'll get back to it. Oh, the Creepjack. Grubby obviously knew where he was, because if you don't see them running kind of through the middle, or past his Voodoo Lounge, there's only one place he can be, and it's either creeping the other start location, or the top right shop. So, yeah, that's one thing to keep in mind, is that, really, there's so limited places for the human to creep. As you can see, Grubby actually decided to go for the Hall kill, and luckily he gets it. That was a great timing to go for it, because really, Todd was in a bad location, and obviously he's wasted a couple TPs, and he was kind of healing at his base. So, and especially because he doesn't have as well established an army as Grubby does. I mean, obviously he has the Raiders, he has the upgrades on them. Really, all that Todd has is like 3 Sorceress and a few Footies, and he doesn't even have like a level 2 Mountain King yet, so Clap isn't really going to do much. All he has is the level 2 Water Elementals and the Sorceress kind of trying to deal some damage output, or reducing damage output, so really that was his only hope. So Grubby, with great awareness, decided to take out his Hall. And really, you can recognize when you have this kind of advantage, is if they've been cowering in their base the whole time, and you actually have, superior hero levels, and they're always afraid to fight you, and they wasted a couple TPs. If they're wasting all that money, like, this early on in the game, I mean, it's not even 15 minutes in, you can go ahead and try and go for the base trade. If it doesn't work out, you TP out. I mean, they've already wasted 2 TPs, so you might as well play it safe. But, yeah, it's just good recognition. sometimes it's hard to recognize when you should be able to do it and when you should do it and don't by accident. I've had a few games like that. In fact, I've had a clan war like that. Oh man, recognize your advantages. That's like the most important thing of Warcraft. If you don't recognize that you have an advantage and you don't use it, that's about as good as not having an advantage. So that's one thing to keep in mind, is that if you have kind of a significant advantage, and basically when you hit 50 food and they've already wasted 2 TPs, you might as well try it anyways, because obviously they're not going to be at 50 food, because they've spent a whole bunch of time, well, in this situation they spent a whole bunch of time running peasants away, doing some repairs, building towers, building farms in the way of towers so that you can't get into the back of their base as well. So really, you just have to recognize that, like, if they're spending all that much money on other stuff, they're really not going to be able to stop you from taking out their hall. Once again, if you have pillage, you gain all that money for like half a town hall, so you can pretty much expo on your own. Yeah. So tier 3 is great, especially on Lost Temple, because they have the opportunity to go Griffins very, very easily, and all they really have to do is be like, you know, I think I'm going to go Griffins with my 3 expos. And then they just kind of mass them up, and you kind of end up screwing yourself if you don't get reinforced upgrades, because all they can really do is kind of run into your base, suicide like their sorceress footy army, and then take out your burrows while you're trying to fight them off. And obviously every fight takes time, and Griffins raping burrows really doesn't take that much time. I've done it recently in a ladder game. In fact, it was on this very map, the very same place. So yeah, that's one thing to keep in mind. Also, I'm going to mention that Todd's kind of stupid. He has way too liberal use of those healing wards that he got dropped, and those are freaking amazing items to actually pick up, especially against an orc who really doesn't have that much, especially in this case, really doesn't have that much of dispel, and they really can't do much about it except try and force their Farseer to hit it. I mean, he already has priests, he's tanking with his water elementals, he doesn't really need to use it for creeps. Yeah, I just thought I'd mention that. And yes, my voice is dying. That's what I get for going to a club. So, yeah, with the and it's like right in your ear, and you have to yell at everyone just to be like, yo, I want to leave, it's too loud. So, yeah, that's one thing to keep in mind. Is that, yeah, my voice is dying. So, another thing, army composition for Grubby, and right now he is creeping up, just because what he's really trying to do is milk his expo, and get his his Tauren Chieftain to level 5, because that will absolutely decimate Todd. And really, at this point in the game, Todd is going to be using a lot of militia, and obviously he's had that expo for a while, so he could be pretty close to having similar army, and in this case he actually has superior food by 84. So yeah, that's one thing to keep in mind, is that you really have to be cautious of, like, if they're actually rebuilding an army and they have this many breakers and they don't have many foots. Oh god, I'm actually literally voice dying here. Yeah, keep in mind that you don't really want to engage in a battle, unless it's at your base, which then you have the burrows to back you up, and you also have the shop. Also, if you have a couple, spirit walkers, you might as well milk the fact that you can get healing scrolls on this map. Hooray. So once again, burrow rape, pretty much impossible when they're reinforced upgrades. And base trading, always a good thing to do if you have raiders. Even if you don't have raiders, sometimes it's good to try and force a couple peasant kills, because then you kind of kill their gold source. I've just found that sometimes if they have towers in your base, they just go, sure, I'll base trade, and then mass towers around my newly formed expo, and build them, like, start building a couple of arcane sanctums while, they still have to keep. So yeah, that's one thing to keep in mind. Also, Grubby right now is operating off of 2 expos. That's a pretty important factor in this game, because one of the expos is actually kind of out of the way. Especially because, if you look at his main and you look at where the where his second expo is, it's kind of out of the way, and basically Grubby will just be able to rape Todd's expo and then be able to camp the hill for a while.